Good morning. Welcome to the Boise Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. We are a spiritually diverse, justice-seeking religious community with one great aim: to grow in love. Love for our neighbor, love for our planet, and love for ourselves. I'm Mark Zimmerer, and I'm your celebrant this morning. It's my great honor to serve this amazing community, and we're glad you're here with us today. We're also joined by Liza Long, our guest speaker, serving us. It's going to be a great day. She has a fan club. Excellent. So let's take a moment to welcome our online community. Those joining us via Zoom, turn around and say hello, everybody. Hey. Look around the room, give a wave to someone that you haven't seen for a while, a friend, someone you don't know, and be sure to go introduce yourself after the service. Zoom friends, we'd also like to see your beautiful faces. So, cameras on, if you're game. Hello? Oh, I don't have my glasses on, so I see faces, but I can't read names. And I don't always associate faces and names together, so. Good morning, Zoom people. Hello. And thank all of you for being here. So if you are seeking something larger than yourself, or you're in search of your own heart, you are welcome here. If you believe that all the religions of the world are right and true, but that none is entirely right, nor does any religion have the corner on the market of truth, you are welcome here. If you believe each of us has to seek the truth in the possibility of science and religion coexisting together, you are welcome here. Whomever you love, however you identify, however you pray, or whoever you pray to, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. If you're curious about this fellowship or Unitarian Universalism, you're invited to join our Inquirers session. Today's session is the Outdoor Sanctuary Tour. It will begin in the Channing Room at approximately 11:30 after the service, and the Channing Room is south. Thank you. Someone will point you in the right direction, always. So, we know it takes a lot of courage to cross the threshold and to enter into a new community, whether you're in person or online. So to our newcomers, we're especially glad you've joined us today. We invite you to introduce yourselves after the service or in the chat for those of us who joined us virtually, and fill out a newcomer card, and a link will be posted in the chat so that we can keep you connected with all that is happening in our fellowship. That's all of that. Each week, as we begin our worship service, centering ourselves by lighting the flaming chalice, a symbol of our free faith, a beacon of hope and love and justice. At this hour, in small towns and in big cities, in living rooms and ornate sanctuaries, many of our sibling UU fellowships are also lighting a flaming chalice, reminding us that we are part of a great community of faith. That usually only happens for people under 5, so thank you. And as we light the chalice here in the sanctuary, I invite those of you in our virtual community to light a chalice, if you have one nearby, along with us this morning, and then share in the chat where your chalice is lit this morning. And now we're going to sing our opening hymn, number 347, Gather the Spirit. The lyrics will be up on the screens or in the hymnals on your chairs. don't even bother sitting down. We're going to do number 16, "'Tis a Gift to be Simple." Of course, sit if you want to, but...
As we gather together, we acknowledge that the land upon which our church and homes exist is the ancestral land stolen from the people of the Shoshone-Bannock, the Shoshone-Paiute, Coeur d'Alene, Kootenai, and Nez Perce nations, along with many other tribes whose names have been lost in history. We acknowledge that our presence here today is founded upon the exclusions and erasures of many indigenous peoples. With this acknowledgement, we wish to demonstrate our ongoing commitment to the work of dismantling the legacies of settler colonialism. We honor indigenous peoples' connection to the land and support their right to sovereignty.
Our spiritual theme for the month of July is Sabbath, the practice of saying no. And today's service explores the Sabbath as a day of rest. But for some of us, a day of rest sounds more like hell than heaven, if you happen to be a type A personality like Liza. How can we find restoration and rejuvenation that works for us? At one point in my marriage, if any of you know Sue, I found a book that I thought was perfect for her. The title of it was Meditations for Women Who Do Too Much. And I didn't realize that buying it for her and giving it to her as a gift was akin to getting her a treadmill or a blender. So I believe Ed is probably smarter than that. I believe that Liza is going to explore some ideas from Sandra Dalton's book, Sacred Rest, which I'm sure that she found on her own, and it was not given to her by Ed. So, good on you, Ed. And she will help us to think about what rest means to us as individuals, considering active rest as a spiritual practice. As we enter into this time of worship, let us take a moment to breathe together. Fill your body with breath, knowing that our breath connects us to one another, to our bodies, and to our planet. Our breath offers us the opportunity for stillness, to tune into our spiritual center, to listen deeply to our heart's own longing. Thou art the song of my heart in the morning. Thou art the dawn of truth in my soul. Thou art the dew of the roses adorning. Thou art the woven whole. Thine is the grace to be steadfast in danger. Thine is the peace that none can destroy. Thine is the face of the need-driven stranger. Thine are the wings of joy. Thou art the deep to the deep in me calling. Thou art a lamp where my feet shall tread. Thy way is steep past the peril of falling. Thou art my daily bread. Thine be the praise of my spirit uplifted. Thou art the sea to each flowing stream. Thine be the days that are gathered and sifted. Thou art the deathless dream. Our call to worship, our next centering music is number 1000, Morning Has Come. We'll get there eventually. Thank you, Carrie. Our call to worship this morning is from David White, The House of Belonging. I awoke this morning in the gold light, turning this way and that, thinking for a moment it was one day like any other. But the veil had gone from my darkened heart, and I thought it must have been the quiet candlelight that filled my room. It must have been the first easy rhythm with which I breathed myself to sleep. It must have been the prayer I said, speaking to the otherness of the night. And I thought, this is the good day you could meet your one love. This is the black day someone close to you could die. This is the day you realize how easily the thread is broken between this world and the next. And I found myself sitting up in the quiet pathway of light, the tawny, close-grained cedar burning round me like fire, and all the angels of this housely heaven ascending through the first roof of light the sun has made. This is the bright home in which I live. This is where I ask my friends to come. This is where I want to love all the things it has taken me so long to learn to love. This is the temple of my adult aloneness, and I belong to that aloneness as I belong to my life. There is no house like the house of belonging. Come, let us worship together. With our promise of building beloved community, we celebrate our commitments to being a multi-generational community, a community of generosity, and a community of care and concern. And in that spirit, I'd like to invite all of our children up front for our time for all ages. Young or young at heart.
Heart, before you get too far, will you bring up the little pieces of paper and a pen that were on your seats? If you didn't, I've got a couple extra, but young people, join me up here with those papers and pens, and adults have those handy. I'm so sorry. You are also involved in this art activity. Yeah, I'll grab that. Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh. All right, lovely people. As we get settled into our seats, there's, if you want to push that close to the, perfect. When summer started and the heat kind of kicked in, I remember saying to myself, I can handle this. I will get outside. I will take my walks. I will ride my bike. And then this horrible haze has snuck in and taken away both my blue skies and my clouds. And I couldn't be angrier. I couldn't be more resentful. I don't really want to go outside anymore. Sometimes you don't realize the impact of something until it's kind of just not there. Just not there anymore. Is there anyone else who is also missing dearly beautiful blue skies, wonderful clouds? Oh, okay, it's not just my heart. It is a common longing. I'm so glad to hear that. I wonder if any of you have ever gazed up at the clouds, maybe recently, maybe ever, and tried to find shapes and patterns in those clouds. Has anyone also done that? What are some shapes that you have found? Carissa.
I found someone's name in the clouds, like one of my friends.
Was the friend with you that you saw? You saw a friend's name in the clouds.
They were there, but they weren't like right next to us.
Nearby. Oh my gosh. A name in the clouds is so new. Yeah. Eden.
Something like that, and because at my school for a year you study clouds, and you study different types of clouds. So I studied what type of clouds there were, how far down they were, how they affected the shadows and everything, and we were actually reported up to NASA about it. Yeah, we reported to NASA at high school.
That is amazing. I am so for this. For a while, I had memorized the equation that you can use to look up what the lowest possible altitude of a cloud is, so you can figure. I also love clouds in every scientific way possible. Mac, what is a shape you've seen in the clouds? A what? Among Us?
Yeah.
An Among Us.
It's like the video game, right?
Yeah, these little guys, they're this little bump, and then they have two legs, and then they have backwards and a little big eye.
We can scoot away from the earwig. We have seen characters from video games, names. Maybe we see creepy creature in the clouds. The bugs are everywhere. I a little bit less miss those. All right. Thank you so much, friend. All right. I would like to take us on a bit of an imaginative journey, a little bit of a brain flex. I am going to draw up on my little, not called a whiteboard, easel. I'm going to draw a simple shape, and I will give you a prompt, and I'm going to give us 45 seconds-ish, and I would like you to take that shape and use it to imagine an answer to the prompt. I don't know how to give an example. I might just make us dive in. Young one who is my niece. I pick favorites. Will you please pick a card from these? Don't look, just grab one. Yep. There we go. Okay, so our very first prompt that I'm going to have you answer is, what is an emotion you are feeling lately? An emotion that you have been feeling lately, and I want you to use this shape. That's not really, let me bold that extra. Try and make it super visible. My friends over here, we have a long line with a short line at each end. That is our thing. I'm going to put some time on the clock, and then afterwards I'm going to have us share some answers. So, an emotion you have been feeling lately, 45 seconds. Let's start now. An emotion you have been feeling lately. Emotions are nuanced. We can go sad, mad, bad, glad. Those are the basics. We can get nuanced. We can go into a shape that reminds us of fury or longing. A shape that encapsulates the feeling of play. Do you have we might get imaginative. A shape that might encapsulate tired. All right, friends. Can I get, I'm going to give you a minute. Show your neighbors, because I'm not sure that we can do that. I don't know how to do that. Show your neighbors, and then can I get, Carissa, what did you draw? Carissa, what emotion? So we've got a smiley face. Yeah, what did we draw? Someone's drawn a tennis court using this shape, feeling sporty. Tired, just have regular tired. Kind of has the T on it. Yeah. All right, friends, flip your paper over. Will you pass the cards to Eden, and Eden can pick a shape? The number cards. Thank you. All right, friends, flip the paper over. And then I am going to, we've got some good ideas, some good conversation. I love this. All right. Next prompt that we are going to be drawing is, draw a map of your childhood bedroom. Draw a map of your childhood bedroom. I'm going to let you brainstorm for a moment. Would you be willing to? Yeah, thank you. Would you also be able to draw this shape for me? Or here, I think I can do it. I think I got it. One-handed is a little hard. There we go. New symbol. It is going to be the top of a box, kind of. This is my attempted explanation, with a line straight through the center. Drawing your childhood bedroom. Got the top of a box with a line straight through the center. You might draw a wall that you remember. You might draw the floor plan. Let's get started. We can time on our clock now. What else might we draw? What else might we draw from a childhood bedroom? The first toy we think of from our childhood. We might draw our bedspread. We might draw the path we used to walk through our room. Friends, 5 more seconds to finish up your drawing. All right, I invite you to turn and show your neighbor, and then I'll keep inviting responses. Kathy, what did you draw? Ooh. Yeah. We've got the line between a shared room. Yeah. George, what did you draw? Ooh, we've got a bunk bed. You bet, yeah. Awesome. All right, friends. Is that a kind way to ask that? All right, friends. Reining you back in. I've got a final. Will you pass the picture cards over to Mac? Mac, once you pick one out, will you bring it up to me? I would like to have our final drawing prompt. I like how you guys are into this, and I'm so grateful for the conversation, for the concentration you guys have been doing. Our final prompt is, I thought the Time for All Ages, or the call to worship was so lovely. Draw the house of belonging. Draw the house of belonging. Ooh, house of belonging, we have a simple triangle with a dot in the center. So we're going to use a simple triangle with a dot in the center to draw the house of belonging. All right, go ahead and get started. This one's a little bit esoteric, a little abstract. House of belonging, somewhere with room enough for all of you, somewhere with room enough for all sorts of people. What do you want to house in the house of belonging? What makes the house of belonging beautiful? All right, 5 more seconds. Finishing up that last line. I'm seeing such lovely houses. This is so gorgeous. All right, my friends. We've got dream homes. I love this. I bet. My dream home is also the house of belonging. All right. My friends, I'm going to forego our last share so that we can get moving. I invite you to continue and share more with your neighbors at the end of the service. What belongs in the house of belonging? What would you house? I'm sure these drawings are gorgeous. All right, lovely people. I am going to take our children away to our religious exploration time. Won't you join me in singing our community blessing?
May your mind be open. As you go your way in peace, as you go your way in peace. When we give, we say yes to the natural cycle of abundance in our lives, and we say yes to building beloved communities within and beyond, especially today, our walls. We commit ourselves to do work for justice and compassion for all people and our earth. Today, we share those gifts with our plate partner, our partner church, Mezgio Transylvania Scholarship Fund. And for those of us who are in the choir, we were able to travel to Mezgio. How long ago? Was that 8 years now? 2018 now. And meet a few of the scholarship recipients. Couldn't be a nicer bunch of kids. And so as an expression of that commitment to living our faith in the world, there are many ways you can make a financial gift in addition to dropping it into the offering baskets. You can scan the QR code on the screen, and you'll be taken right to our online giving page. You can visit our website at boiseuu.org and click Give in the top right corner. And you can use the Vanco app on your smartphone. For our online community, we'll also drop a link in the chat. However you choose to give, you nurture our community, and we are grateful. I invite our ushers to come forward. Our offering will be gratefully received. We bless these gifts, so freely given. May generosity always be our companion as we walk the holy path toward ever greater compassion and beauty. And each week in our service, we take some time to acknowledge the many joys among us and to grieve the many sorrows and losses so that we might lift that burden for each other and receive the blessing of this community. It's through our sharing with one another that we forge deep roots and bonds of community and connection. We begin by sharing these joys and sorrows, the fact that longtime Booth member Suzanne Woodcock died Saturday, July 13th. Her celebration of life service will be held Sunday, September 8th from 3 to 5 at the Terraces 5301 East Warm Springs Avenue. If you are holding someone in your heart this morning, I invite you to speak their name aloud into this community of love, that we may hold them with you. May the arms of this community hold all our joys and sorrows, those named and those that remain silent close to our hearts. May we feel the grace that surrounds us and be transformed by the spirit of life and love, with warmth to celebrate our joys and with gentleness to soothe our aching hearts. Breathe with me. Fill your body with your breath. Breathe into this sacred space. Breathe with this beloved community filled with loving kindness. Breathe with wholeheartedness. Listen to what is calling you in the silence. We invite you to shift gears into this time of deeper reflection and hopeful transformation, settling into our bodies, opening our hearts and minds with curiosity and compassion. Our reflection this morning is from January Gill O'Neill, and it will be read by Liza Long.
Sunday by January Gill O'Neill. You are the start of the week or the end of it, and according to the Beatles, you creep in like a nun. You're the second full day the kids have been away with their father, the second full day of an empty house. Sunday, I've missed you. I've been sitting in the backyard with a glass of Pinot waiting for your arrival. Did you know the first sweet 100s are turning red in the garden, but the lettuce has grown a little too bitter to eat? I'm looking up at the bluest sky I've ever seen, cerulean blue, a heaven sky no one would believe I was under. You are my witness. No day is promised. You are absolution. You are my unwritten to-do list, my dishes in the sink, my brownie breakfast, my braless day. Mark didn't want to read that last line. I think I get to, I'll go right into my sermon. I love that poem. A couple of weeks ago, I spoke at my Mormon congregation, and Mark said this morning, "Oh, are you going to give the same sermon?" I will not, and I am wearing a bra. Okay, so, got that out of the way. Today I'm going to be talking to you about a Type A person's guide to the Sabbath, or what does the Sabbath and rest mean for workaholics like me? I still remember the first time someone told me I was Type A. In 5th grade, we were each assigned state reports, and I got Kentucky. I learned everything a 10-year-old could about the bluegrass state. Not only did I identify the state bird, the northern cardinal, I also hand-embroidered the bird's likeness on a scrap of silk fabric for my poster, and I embroidered a miniature state flag, because today the kids would call the state poster I created extra. And not many things about my approach to work and life have changed. As Sam is laughing, my kid in the background. According to Healthline, people with Type A personalities have a tendency to multitask. They are highly organized and dislike wasting time. We spend much of our time focused on work, and we tend to be competitive and goal-driven. In contrast, Type B people are either just rolling in now for the sermon or are hope-scrolling Kamala Harris victory memes on their phones. Yes! That is time well spent, my friends. Fun fact, This type A, type B personality theory originated with two cardiologists, Meyer Friedman and Ray Rosenman. In the 1950s, with some now controversial funding from tobacco companies, the two physicians developed the idea of type A and type B personalities to explain risk factors for coronary heart disease, concluding that people with type A personalities had double the risk of heart attacks. Yikes. Fortunately, the theory is no longer accepted by cardiologists, though stress does play a role in heart health. But the two personality types, type A and type B, developed a second life with a robust following in the field of health psychology, which studies the interactions between mental and physical health. If you know me even a little, you can guess that I'm type A, and that means I'm very, very productive because I'm curious, engaged, and I have a lot of special interests. But I also have anxiety. And work is one of the few things that soothes it. Work is my happy place. It's where things make the most sense to me. So I was naturally terrified when I learned this month's theme, the Sabbath or the practice of saying no. I have many strengths, and I'm grateful for them, but honoring the Sabbath, frankly, is just not one of them. I'm absolutely the worst at resting. I loathe the term self-care. I can't even watch Netflix or listen to a book without folding laundry, mopping the floors, or organizing photos on my computer. I'm pretty much always an object in motion. But preparing this sermon gave me an opportunity to get curious about the praxis of rest. The blogger Lisa Renee Hall wrote something about the Sabbath that really resonated with me. Rest, quote, rest isn't a reward for the work. It's part of the work, end quote. Hall's writing led me to a book by a fellow type A workaholic, Dr. Sandra Dalton Smith, author of Sacred Rest, Recover Your Life, Renew Your Energy, Restore Your Sanity. Dr. Dalton Smith is a wife, a mother, and a board-certified physician with a very thriving practice. Her book may not be for everyone. She takes an unapologetically Christian approach to rest, as the title suggests, but she offers a framework for the idea of resting as a practice that speaks to my hyperproductive soul, and I want to share it with you today in case it speaks to you. For many of us, the weekend has become focused on planned relaxation. We have Sunday brunches, leisurely mornings with newspapers and coffee, hikes in the foothills when they aren't on fire. But these activities are not what Dr. Dalton Smith means by rest. She doesn't mean massages or pedicures or vacations either. For Dr. Dalton Smith, rest is an integral spiritual practice that we weave into our daily lives. We don't wait for Sunday to practice rest. Quote, rest has become synonymous with sleep or cessation of all activity, she writes. But what if rest is in itself a vital activity required to tend the garden of our lives? End quote. Dr. Dalton Smith breaks the concept of rest down into 7 different categories. As I go through each of these, I will recommend maybe that you take notes. Some of you still have some paper, and make connections to the good work of rest you're already doing, or maybe take away some ideas that you might want to try in your own life. The first type of rest is physical rest. We often confuse resting with sleep, but physical rest is different from sleep and just as necessary. Dynamic stretching, breathing exercises, soaking baths are all forms of active physical rest. For me, physical rest occurs almost daily in my yoga practice, which, since I'm type A, I have to admit, it's in a 106-degree room with 51% humidity, so you don't necessarily have to take that away from today's talk, but yoga, big thumbs up. So what types of physical activity make you feel energized? Maybe think about that. And which types of activity create a sense of calm or relaxation in your life? Physical rest can be as easy as stepping away from your desk for a few minutes to take a short walk. When you're desperate for physical rest, try this. Lie on your back with your legs up the wall, Sam and I do this. Or try a 2-minute prone, flat on your back Savasana, corpse pose, where you just focus on your breathing, just for 2 or 3 minutes. It's amazing how restorative those 2 to 3 minutes can be. The second type of rest is mental rest. When was the last time you put your phone away? I know my husband Ed thinks I'm on the phone too much, but I'm not alone. A July 2024 New York Times poll found that 83% of Americans have their phones on or near them during all waking hours. Whew, okay. But I bought a phone case for my phone with a cover so I can close it and put it away. Because frankly, I find the constant notifications exhausting. Sometimes it's nice to just shut that phone. Dr. Dalton Smith compares mental clutter to physical clutter, saying, as important as it is to rest your body, it's equally important to quiet your mind from the ongoing influx of information it receives. Practicing mental rest can be as simple as taking a few deep breaths to ground yourself. Another technique you could try is to block out time for things that you don't like to do. For example, I set aside Monday mornings every Monday for the boring administrative tasks that I hate and never seem to get around to. That's called time blocking. What's something that you can try this week to practice your mental rest? The third type of rest is emotional. Women my age are inundated with messages about self-care. What does that even mean? More opportunities for late-stage capitalism to pick our pockets? No, thank you. True emotional rest is setting healthy boundaries and enforcing them. I know this because I've been in therapy for a long time, and I also know that I'm bad at this because I've been in therapy for a long time, but I'm getting better at respecting my boundaries. Dr. Dalton Smith notes that, quote, you experience emotional rest when you no longer feel the need to perform or meet external expectations, end quote. Where are you spending your emotional energy right now? Do you find yourself acting differently depending on the group of people you are with? Do you beat yourself up for what most people would consider a minor mistake? This week, pay attention to your reactions to situations. Then think about the actions you can take to be more vulnerable and authentic while also limiting toxic interactions and relationships. Might go back to that phone and social media, but anyway. The next type of rest is spiritual rest, which encourages us to find connections to something larger than ourselves. What is your spiritual journey? As a Christian, Dr. Dalton Smith says, my journey has always been about finding home, a place of rest. What does your spiritual home look like to you? We just got to practice that, to draw a house of belonging. I'm very grateful to be in a welcoming space where my beliefs or lack thereof are no barrier to my spiritual journey. So thank you for having me here. My own spiritual journey, I've realized, is one of curiosity. I'm not content with answers to questions. Instead, I relish the questions. I wallow in the questions. What does the divine look like for you? How do you connect to something bigger than yourself? Social rest is a tough one for me personally. As a confirmed introvert, I'm a little skeptical about finding rest in the company of others. But I cannot deny that this beloved community has supported me through some things for more than 14 years now. Dr. Dalton Smith encourages us to consider how our life story intersects with others. She says, quote, social rest reconnects us to uplifting, rewarding relationship exchanges, end quote. This can be as simple as sending or receiving a text from a friend, or something a little bigger, like taking someone a casserole when they are sick, or soup. I'm staring at Kathy because she brought me soup one time. It was very meaningful. Thank you. So both giving and receiving acts of kindness, that's how we all experience social rest. For my type A people, our risk of premature death from all causes goes down 50% when we have strong relationships in our lives. What's one thing you can do this week to strengthen a relationship that matters to you? Sensory rest is critical for me. Sam and I were in Denver last weekend seeing AJR, one of our favorite nerd bands. They have a song called Don't Throw Out My Legos. Look it up if you're a parent. It's awesome. If you ever see us at a concert or at the movies, you might notice that we're wearing earplugs. As much as we love concerts, the sensory experience can be overwhelming for us. Dr. Dalton Smith observes that, quote, our excessive exposure to nonstop sensory information has left many of us exhausted, end quote. If this is you, how can you take a short sensory break? The American Optometric, I can't pronounce that word, Association recommends something I've started doing with positive results. When you're working at your computer, take a 20-second break every 20 minutes and focus on something 20 feet away. This easy activity can help with headaches, dry eyes, and sore necks. Finally, my favorite form of rest, creative rest, which we got to practice with Emily today and our kids. Dr. Dalton Smith affectionately refers to this type of rest where we immerse ourselves in creative beauty as her beauty rest. Our soul yearns to be awed and captivated, she writes. Creative rest revives our failing hearts. Life becomes more enjoyable when we soak in beauty and light, end quote. This type of rest is not only for creative people. It's important for all of us. Maybe you experience creative rest in nature or your garden or through travel to a new place, for example. I asked Carrie if we could sing a whole bunch of congregational hymns for this service because I personally feel and experience creative rest through music. And I hope you felt that today as you got to sing with each other in community. Books and music both feed my spirit. For a long time, I resisted audiobooks because I didn't see them as real reading. I'm an English professor. What is wrong with me? Listening to audiobooks this past year is the biggest single improvement I've made in my life. I'm so much happier now that I'm savoring brilliant novels again. I'm reading Percival Everett's Erasure right now. Strong recommend. Even if I'm still folding laundry while I listen. I also make time each week to play the piano. The flow state I can achieve while playing a Bach prelude and fugue is one of the most restful experiences I personally know. What's one thing you can do this week to soak in beauty and light? How can you make creative rest a regular part of your life? When I started working on this sermon, I thought it would be the story of my failures in doing enough to honor the Sabbath and keep it holy. That's maybe my Mormon experience there. And that very well may be the subtext for some audiences, but sorry. However, by rethinking what rest actually looks like in my life, I found instead that I'm actually doing pretty okay with this rest thing. I've already identified and put into place some active resting practices that undeniably make my life more meaningful. Dr. Dalton Smith says, quote, a well-rested life is a secret hidden in plain sight. It is a life at one with God, self, and others. It's a life strengthened by winding down the expectations of others and charging up your expectations for yourself. You become in tune with what you need to be at your best. You become comfortable with your strengths and knowledgeable about your weaknesses. You can then use that information to pour into the areas needing strengthening and reinforce areas that are already strong. You find your sweet spot in living, loving, being, doing, and resting. Like all of us, I'm a work in progress, but by allowing myself the grace to fail and the time to slow down, I've been able to shift my thinking, to open myself up to new possibilities, and to try things that once scared me, but now excite me. If you've heard some things today that made you curious, I hope you'll consider staking out some places of active rest in your own life. There's no better day than Sunday to start an active practice of sacred rest.
And our closing prayer, meditation, is from Thich Nhat Hanh today. Sorry about this. I know it's in here someplace. We didn't print it in the service because we didn't realize we needed one here, but here we go. While we practice conscious breathing, our thinking will slow down and we can give ourselves a real rest. Most of the time, we think too much. And mindful breathing helps us to be calm, relaxed, and peaceful. It helps us to stop being possessed by sorrows of the past and worries about the future, and enables us to be in touch with life, which is wonderful in the present moment. And our closing song is number 126, Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing. We'll do all of the verses, which will be on the screen again. Friends, I invite you to place your hands over your hearts for our closing blessing. May we all walk forward in peace and love to face the week that comes. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Blessed are we all. Go in peace. Amen.